popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. Hold your horses, everybody. It's another movie news and trailer reaction episode. I'm your boy, Eddie Collins.
And guys, this is Justin Brown.
Now, we are Media and Popcorn, two ninjas spoiling movies. But you knew that from the show title. And here we are to talk about some recent movie developments and stuff like that.
Why are you talking like Martin Luther King?
I don't know. I'm feeling very spiritual today because we have a lot of exciting news to share. Actually, it's a lot of sad updates that as a fanboy, make me sad because I don't know if we're gonna make it to these release dates. Particularly, the Batman Part 2 is reportedly now set to film in April 2025, which means we're not gonna get this motherfucker to 2026.
That ain't good.
So, any casting news y'all are hearing? I know there's been some whispers about Boyd Holbrook from Logan, the Sandman, potentially playing Harvey Dent. Our boy Bill Jet Ramey over at Batman on Film said those are false. Don't buy into any casting news right now because even if they wanted to cast someone now, if they're not filming for another year, that shit
so many
change.
things that happen.
Yeah, so at this point, folks, just enjoy the fact that we're going to have the Penguin coming out. We're going to talk about watching the trailer in a little bit, but yeah, don't hold your breath for that coming because a lot of casting things people could drop out. Scheduling conflicts could happen. The script could maybe get some changes, which is what happened to Aaron Pierre, who recently announced that he is no longer with Marvel's Blade.
Yep.
He said, as the project evolved, I'm no longer a part of that. As we all have talked about on this podcast before, Blade's gone through a lot of iterations, a lot of different writers, a lot of different directors. For whatever reason, they just can't really seem to figure out the story, or at least Mahershala hasn't been happy with the things presented to him. So who knows what's going on? Aaron Pierre is a great actor. I think he'll be just fine. He was recently in the MLK Malcolm X miniseries, so he's doing just fine. I think he's also going to be the voice of Mufasa in the Mufasa sequel, a prequel, and whatever.
Okay.
And yeah, I roll my eyes too when I hear about it, but then Barry Jenkins is directing it, so I'm like,
yeah, but
hopefully it'll be worth it. Hopefully it makes sense, but. Yeah, just it's sad that for some reason Blade's just really struggling, man. I don't know why. The first one does still hold up. We just did a review with Shay Serrano, talked about how amazing it still is. So there is a lot of pressure to get it right.
Yeah, and it's also like they're gonna have to do that more of like a rated R type deal, and I mean, cause it's so much blood in Blade. How are they not?
Yeah.
So they have to take a lot of care to it, and considering the fact that it is such a heralded property.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Another piece of Marvel news is that apparently the rumor is that the Eternals, which became Marvel Studios' first Rodden film, was released in 2021, apparently will not be getting a sequel. And in fact, has transformed into something else, which means that the characters might end up in a film of a different character, or perhaps in like a TV series, something. Because
or more of a mashup film, like doing a film with them and like Thor, or Guardians of the Galaxy, or something like.
Because I mean, it did end on quite a cliffhanger. Like, half the group was like fucking taken for judgment by the Centennial Force or whatever the fuck that was. So yeah, and also
Star Fox showing up,
yeah. And also Celestial still sticking out in like that part of the globe. Like we haven't returned to that at all since the Eternals. So yeah, there's a lot of things we gotta get back to. I'd be okay with not seeing Harry Styles Star Fox though again.
Yeah,
I'd be okay. They introduced a lot of fucking people in this last phase that I feel like we're never gonna see again.
Yeah,
like it's just like,
well, I mean, it's because they overplayed. They overplayed it, and they were just like, "Oh shit, okay, it's damage control. Let's bring it back. Let's walk it back."
Yeah, it's very weird. But Yeah, going pivoting to our the counterpart for Marvel, Jake Gyllenhaal has said that it would be an honor for him to play the role of Batman. Those roles are classic. When he was asked during the press circuit for Roadhouse,
Yeah.
it came up and he said, that speaking of roles that other incredible actors have played in the past, to me, actual roles that other actors have played in the past, which to me, actually, I think I'm going to do. I'm going to be playing Iago in Othello with Denzel, and think about the history of the actors that played that role throughout time. I'm intimidated by that, but
Yeah.
be incredibly honored by that. We've talked in the Roadhouse review. We thought he could be a good Batman
Yeah.
for sure. I think he could definitely pull that off. I'd be curious to know if they can one afford him, and two how much he would be willing to commit to that role, depending on what the roadmap is for Batman
Yeah.
in James Gunn's DC. Because the thing is, it's so far out. And if you commit to it now without seeing how Superman goes, that's why, like, I keep saying James Gunn's Superman, I think is one of the most important films in recent memory
100%.
because it really will determine like what happens with the superhero genre. Because you
Yeah.
have a whole studio kind of betting on this new direction.
Yep.
And if that first entry is not well received, then it's going to be a clusterfuck.
Yep. It's gonna be over for
Yeah.
for DC.
Yeah, and I honestly already think it's already too messy because Jennifer Holland, who is James Gunn's cutie patootie wife,
Mm.
she just recently announced that Peacemaker season 2 will start filming probably this summer,
Yeah.
which is crazy because that means James Gunn is going to go back to back from Superman to filming that, um, and and apparently season 1 isn't canon for the new DCU. I think Peacemaker is going to make things really messy.
Hmm.
I'm like very curious
Unless
as
they're
to
gonna
how
try to just spin it off to its own thing, but still, that's
I,
no, because the first one was,
it's connected to the
yeah,
old DC.
yeah,
So that's why I'm very curious to see how they try to explain this to general audiences, how this all makes sense.
yeah,
Because if anything, if the past few movies and projects from Marvel have proven is that people are tired of doing so much homework.
yeah,
And I really like I love the first season of Peacemaker. It surprised the hell out of me.
yeah,
Like John Cena did some things in that where I was like, oh wow, he's actually getting really good.
yeah.
Like he's getting really good as a
Well, no,
comedic actor, as an action
I think
star.
it's they figured out how to use him.
Yes,
They
James
figured out how
Gunn.
to use him,
Yeah,
this is not taking anything away from John Cena.
for
I think
sure.
they figured out how to use him, and they're basically because of that, they're putting his best attributes and all the things he's naturally good at, and they're right up in the forefront, which helps him as an actor,
Yeah,
and then just makes everything better.
absolutely. I mean, if I were The Rock, I would try to team up with James Gunn on something because apparently James Gunn knows how to work with wrestlers turn actors.
Yeah. Oh
Between Batista and now John Cena, I would be like,
true.
hey, I gotta work with you, man. Maybe you can see something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm very curious as to how that's gonna work. I don't know. Um, I think there's a way to if there's a show that could retcon everything, it could be Peacemaker. It's just how many people are going to watch Peacemaker versus a $200 million movie in the movie theater.
Yeah.
That's just what I mean. Like because Max apparently, as much as I love the catalog that it has on that app, apparently it's like one of the lowest viewed apps in the streaming wars.
Really.
Yeah, it's like pretty far down.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, so I don't know, but
Under Tubi, actually, probably yes.
yeah, because Tubi's free.
Yeah.
Tubi is free, bro. Um,
I'll watch some commercials.
yeah, I mean that's just wild. What's going on with DC? Let's see. Let's keep it with like some unique media. Uh, Grand Theft Auto 6 is reportedly planned for early 2025. We could be getting it as early as spring 2025, but because of how extensive it is, it could also be delayed till 2026.
Upset.
Um, because it's Rockstar Games is apparently directing employees to return to 5-day office weeks starting in April for security and quality. However, apparently the video game is still falling behind expectations and scheduling. So, folks, obviously we saw the teaser trailer. Everyone got incredibly excited. I'm incredibly excited, but it seems like we may not get that till 2026. Honestly, for me, I'm like, take as much time as you need
Yeah, I
because
want the game to be good.
people are still playing GTA 5.
Well,
That's how
also,
good it is. It's
I'd rather have a game that's finished and like you
mm,
don't have to wait 3 years
yeah,
for them to put out, this part of the game and all that kind of
for
stuff.
sure.
It's just
Yeah.
like give us a finish or give us a sizable game with mostly everything is finished. And if you have more ideas, then you can bring those out later. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
yep.
But don't sell me something and be like, oh yeah, you're also gonna have this in 4 years.
Yeah,
Like that shit was kind of upsetting.
absolutely. Um, some more development news. Popeye is sailing back to the big screen. The popular 1920s cartoon Sailor Man is going to be getting a new live adaptation in the feature with a screenwriter Michael Callio, who's written Sexy Beast, The Family, and Sopranos attached to adapt it. Those are all gangster movies, so I wonder if they're going to go maybe like the whole pirate gang life, which could be interesting. If maybe like Popeye goes rogue or something like I don't know. The only thing I'm like immediately when I saw that I'm like, well, Tim Robbins has to play Popeye, right? From Detroiters and that fucking crazy Netflix show. He's the only reasonable choice because he's the only one that could play him comedically. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're going straight, which would be really fucking weird. If you play Popeye straight, I think that would be crazier than
Well,
doing
from
the
what it says,
comedy.
it seems like it's going to be a little darker.
Yeah, I mean that writer, like all those films that he wrote,
Yeah.
are fucking even the family, which is like kind of a mob comedy as thing. That's still pretty dark movie and
I
shit.
mean, so basically, it's going to be a thing where a woman is kidnapped by a man, Bluto.
Mhm.
And then, like, then you have this sailor who goes in there.
Oh shit! You think it could be Popeye meets John Wick?
I'd say Popeye meets Taken.
Oh,
I mean, that could be interesting,
yeah.
but you have to get a big dude to play it. You're getting like the dude from Reacher. You know what I'm saying?
Or if you got John Cena, he couldn't do the voice though. That'd be crazy.
No, so
Because you
no,
also
no,
how
no,
do you play
but no,
Popeye?
but they're not going to do that. They're
Yeah,
going to do a modern take on Popeye because Popeye was based off of sailors from what the 1920s, off coming out of World War One. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
Well, we're also this film production company is called like Sherman Films. It's not like a big studio or anything.
mhm.
So for all we know, we could be getting like a Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey type of
No,
take on
no,
Popeye, which apparently that shit's blown up because Hollywood Reporter mentioned that the franchise is going to launch a crossover event called the Pooniverse.
the Pooverse,
No, it says Pooniverse.
Pooniverse. Okay,
Yes. With classic characters including Pinocchio, Sleeping Beauty, Bambi, the Mad Hatter, and Peter Pan, who are all going to be getting their own little films. Apparently, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 just came out and it's getting decent reviews compared to the first one. But yeah, man, we can maybe put these on the list, but this sounds fucking nuts.
yes,
These
yes,
movies
yes.
sound crazy, dude.
Well, yeah, and they're supposed to be like the uh like they're going after people. Like yeah, like
Yeah, apparently Christopher Robin's like the main antagonist hero, possibly
mhm,
of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It just sounds cuckoo fucking bananas. The
yeah.
whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
the whole goddamn thing. Speaking of cuckoo bananas, and
Christopher
also
Robin.
Sopranos. Whenever I think of Winnie the Pooh, friend of the show Dan Soder had this bit that he actually auditioned for SNL with, which
Mm.
was Winnie the Pooh, but Winnie the Pooh at like a honey AA kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing, where he's like, I'm addicted to honey. And some days I woke up in other people's beds without any pants on because they had the honey. And it's really weird.
I'll do anything for honey. Oh, Christopher Robin.
I'll suck out the honey from any man who maybe has honey. Anyways,
Christopher Robin has the best honey.
woo, I'm not touching that.
No
Uh,
Diddy. Go on.
so speaking of Sopranos, in a team up, David Chase, the creator, and Terrence Winter, one of the key writers of the series, have teamed up to create an untitled horror feature at New Line Cinema. The deal falls under David Chase's first deal at Warner Brothers. The reason why I chose this story is one, it's interesting to see David Chase finally do some outside Sopranos because
Yeah.
the Mindy Saints of Newark wasn't great. He did one film about like a musician that also was kind of eh. But I'm curious to see what he does in the horror genre. And New Line Cinema hasn't done like a lot in a while. So I'm curious to see what they end up doing.
Are they gonna do something where there's a serial killer that's killing gangsters?
God. Wasn't that a wasn't that Soprano storyline?
I
I
mean,
think Christopher was making a film. Yeah, he made a film called Cleaver. That was like a horror mob movie, and he was one of the characters made fun of Tony because remember Tony was pissed off
yeah,
about it. That's what I mean. There's always like those moments where Tony's like, "I'm gonna kill this nigga," and then you're like, "Well, Christopher's gonna die," and then he didn't, and then they killed him at the most random time. Spoiler
yeah.
alert, everybody. But yeah,
For a movie that I mean, a show that's been over for the last 20 years.
you'd be surprised, man. So many people are like finally watching Sopranos, and
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh, don't spoil it for me." I'm like, "Nigga, this show's been on for like 20 years."
yeah. It's been 20 years since that
Yeah,
was
it's
there.
wow. I was still in college when the finale aired. Because I remember being back in Michigan, like I think I was like my junior in college when the finale aired, and that was
Yeah,
like 15 years ago.
yeah.
So, uh, some exciting news for you, Justin. That's outside of movie news, but Dragon Ball. There's a Dragon Ball theme park opening in
Oh, I know.
Saudi Arabia.
I know. They just trying to get niggas to go over there. They're trying to get niggas to go in and be like, hey, let's go to Saudi.
Spans 1,640,400 square feet.
But I mean,
The
it
opening
looks
date hasn't been announced yet, but it looks nuts.
yeah, I mean, it looks dope, and then you're gonna actually be able to like interact with
Like characters and
characters
stuff.
from the
Yeah,
show and like different aspects of the show, whatnot. I imagine you're gonna be using like holograms and
yeah.
doing fights and whatnot, which would be cool. But at the other point, it's like it's in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, in the city of Riyadh, which I believe is incredibly hot.
So like I just don't see like I know tons of people are gonna go from Japan.
Mm,
And like Dragon Ball Z is a global thing and like people love it everywhere, but I don't know if I love it enough to go to Saudi Arabia
that's fair.
to go see it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like I would
I
love
mean,
to
you
see
need to
something
have
like
some money.
well,
You need to have
exactly
some
that
money.
too. It's like I ain't got that oil money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it sounds like to me? Some like oil prince. You know when he's got yeah I don't know some prince who's got a bunch of
Yeah, yeah.
a ton of money
Who love
over here.
Dragon Ball?
Dragon Ball is yo, let's do a Dragon Ball village whatever. We'll turn it into a theme park. I just think that yeah,
It could be
it,
crazy.
but like Yuvia said in the chat, as a woman, I would not want to go there, and I want to go to Dragon Ball theme park.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
as a woman, yeah, you can't enjoy
Very,
that.
very specific demographic that would
Yeah,
feel comfortable going
yeah. It's
to.
like basically at that point, it's only for men.
Mm,
And that
yeah,
sucks. Because if I'm gonna go to Saudi Arabia, well, I'm sorry, if I'm gonna go to a Dragon Ball theme park, I'm taking my kids, especially with Dragon Ball Daimyo coming out.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Which is kind of like marketing as far as what we know right now to kind of the younger generation to get them into Dragon Ball because they're turning the characters into kids again.
yeah.
It's like I can't take my kids to Saudi Arabia, not with my wife.
Oh, my wife.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, also that's a region of the world where some black people are disappearing, being sold into slavery. So
True,
like,
true.
yeah, so like it just seems like
Yeah,
you're gonna have to be a man, and you're gonna have to be a fair skinned man, or you're gonna have to be really, really rich to go there.
for sure. Yeah, I completely hear you there. Speaking of really being really rich, as if this. Well, I don't want to say like Adam Sandler already has enough money, but he he must be in a place where he's just picking projects that he just wants to do. It's not really for like the money or anything like that. And I was very surprised to hear Christopher McDonald, original cast member of Happy Gilmore, say that there's a script for Happy Gilmore too,
Yeah.
which is wild.
Yep.
And rest in power, Carl Weathers, because he clearly can't be a part of it.
But Tiger Woods.
Well, I mean, I saw that floating around, but like
Right.
it's not from a reputable
I
site.
know, but
And the person who shared that, like, he gets his news from like tkmax.com. So it's like he's fucking out of his goddamn mind.
not even PJ.
Not even TJ Maxx,
TJ
TK Maxx. Yeah, he's the bootleg to the bootleg. That's what he gets it from. But yeah, Christopher McDonald said, I saw Adam about 2 weeks ago, and he says to me, McDonald, you're gonna love this. And then he said, what? And he said, how about this? And he shows him the first draft of Happy Gilmore 2. Mind you, that doesn't mean Christopher McDonald's in the sequel.
What's that?
That doesn't mean that Christopher McDonald has a role in the
That's true.
sequel.
That's
I mean,
true.
I would be kind of shitty for Adam Sandler to show him that, and then
Yeah.
he does have a role, but because it could easily be his like son who's getting revenge against Happy Gilmore's son or something like that.
True.
Like, depending or daughter or whatever
Or he
they.
comes out of retirement or something like that.
Mm, yeah, Happy Gilmore. I have to admit though, is my one of my least favorite of the Sandler comedies
I
at that
enjoyed Happy
time.
Gilmore.
It's fun, but it's just like for me, Billy Madison's just like in that little group.
Yeah, well,
Just that's
Billy
so fucking,
Madison's,
so fucking crazy.
the Waterboy.
Yeah,
Like I was just watching Waterboy. It was on TV, and I got. It's funny because I sat there. I was watching Waterboy. I think the kids just came home, and it was just happened to be on, and they
yeah.
sat down and watched it too.
Okay.
I was like, Universal.
Yeah, happy family, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, happy family over there. Um,
debatable.
sp- Speaking of SNL alum, Pete Davidson has reportedly called it quits on Bupkis season two. It had been announced that the Peacock comedy would be returning, but then the actor said, "This part of my life is finished." So he's decided. I guess maybe they thought about the story or like started writing scripts, and he was just like, "I'm not
Nah.
feeling it."
Yeah.
I mean, it is very autobiographical. It's like
Yeah.
extreme, like it's an extreme take on him. Did you watch Bupkis at all?
No.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. There's some really funny episodes. Joe Pesci is actually really good on it
Mm.
as his grandfather. Um, wasn't the most coherent show, but it was better than I thought King of Staten Island in
Okay.
regards to showing Pete's talent
Mm.
and everything. But if he's not feeling it, I mean, there's no point in forcing yourself to do something if you're especially if he has the ability to pull away the way he can.
I mean, there's also like the autobiographical stuff it's just a lot for him.
Yeah, yeah,
Because like he has, his stuff is like,
yeah. If
yeah,
he's finally come to a conclusion, I should probably start doing some more just like fictional storytelling that's not directly related to my personal life. I'm all for that
yeah,
for him. And I think also audiences might be into that a little bit more too
yeah,
than just watching the Pete Davidson story over and over again.
yeah.
And everything. But some other SNL alum that are making moves. Bill Hader is creating he's leading the Cat in the Hat animated film that's coming out in March 2026 by Warner Brothers. The cast also includes Quentin Brunson, Bowen Yang, Zaxo Gomez, and Paula Pell. Of course, it's based on the Dr. Seuss tale and being written and directed by Alessandro Cogliano and Erica Ribanira. So I think an animated Cat in the Hat could work. At
So
first, I was worried they were like doing live action. I was like,
mm,
please don't do that again. The Mike Myers one was terrifying.
I, I, a part of me kind of feels like Bill Hader is almost like the new Jim Carrey. Like he came from like a sketch show,
Yeah,
and then it just like he goes into movies, and well, I mean, I guess Jim Carrey came out and was doing mainly comedies, and then he started doing some
yeah.
serious films. But I mean, Bill Hader kind of
He's
went
been,
the opposite way,
yeah, yeah.
more. But like, he's just like somebody you didn't
Mhm.
expect to be that guy to blow up like that.
Yeah, I'm not. Jim Carrey, I think, is one of the greatest comedic actors ever. Like one of the greatest performers ever, I would say, because drama he's done really well too. He just
Yeah,
never gotten the respect he deserved. Bill Hader, though, on a creative level, like he he's good. Like he's a full stack creator. He's
yeah.
an actor. He's a writer. He's a director. Like Barry, the last season was all him.
Oh yeah,
Like he talked about essentially like he was so, and I think he probably is controlling. Like he kind of admitted on this interview I listened to him on. Like he essentially was so controlling of the vision that he had that the producers were pretty much like, then you do it. Like you do everything.
yeah,
And he was like, okay, like
yeah.
because
Got it.
because he was just always on top of people and like he admitted like he wasn't giving some people like whether it's director or other
Yeah,
creatives enough room to breathe, so he ended up being the
yeah.
main dude.
The scope.
And the fact that he did that while also being the lead in the show, and to me I think it's just a fucking Emmy categorization shit where it made Barry a comedy because
Mhm.
it's half hour. But dude, he did some great dramatic work on that
Oh
show.
no, 100%.
Like they all did. Even Henry Winkler, like it started off comedic and then it became like, I mean, I laughed a lot just because it was so sad what happens to that character.
Mhm.
You finished
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah, of course.
I mean, the last season with Henry Winkler's character, just when he realizes what's happening to him,
Yeah.
and you say, "Oh wait, y'all motherfuckers think I did this?" Folks, if you ever watch Barry, like
I was literally
you
about to
gotta
say the
watch
same
it.
thing. I was waiting for you to finish, but like, yo, y'all gotta watch Barry if you haven't
Like
already.
it's funny, it's dark, but it does get really dark and really
And intense.
intense and sad. But season three, man, when there's some great action set pieces.
Yeah.
And so like definitely check out Barry. I think Cat in the Hat will be fine. If it's like the whole like, Warner Brothers team that does those silly cartoons. I just hope it's better than the Grinch. Grinch had no bite. The one with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, I didn't watch
It
that. I
was
didn't watch
really
that.
boring.
I didn't watch that.
Yeah, like and they keep making it harder and harder for you to find the original Grinch. Cat in the Hat, I don't give a fuck. That dude was always creepy.
Yeah.
So maybe this new cartoon could convince me otherwise, but
You're a mean one.
Mr. Grinch. Okay. Speaking of late release dates, Ryan Coogler's new film, that's also Warner Brothers, has set a date for March 7th, 2025. This one's going to star Michael B. Jordan. While the story details are under wraps, it's been rumored that Michael B. Jordan's playing two characters. It's a period piece and possibly involves vampires. They're filming it in New Orleans this spring. I mean, this is guaranteed to be a hit. It's going to be like
Yeah.
whenever they partner up, it's going to be
Yeah.
huge. But also, Ryan Coogler did an interesting thing. I don't know if you read about this, where I believe in 20 years, he negotiated this deal with Warner Brothers. In 20 years, the rights to this IP that he created revert back to him and his family.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people are wondering if that's like potentially a new deal with directors, is that they're able to like negotiate to get their rights reverted back to them at a certain point.
Hmm.
So good on him for negotiating that. I think that he very much deserves that. I'm glad to see a brother being able to capitalize on their gifts and their their fame in that way.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, their talent.
yeah. I mean, there's a huge bidding war for this project, so the fact that he was like, "Yeah, I want, I want to get the rights back
Yeah.
at some point." So
Good on him.
absolutely. Speaking of rights for films, apparently the Boondock Saints rights uh, have been taken back by the creative team. And Thunder Road, the producers behind the John Wick films, have stepped in to take over the rights for Boondock Saints, which will include the original stars Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery coming back as McManus brothers. We never reviewed any of those films
No.
actually, which is crazy because Boondock Saints is an incredible
Yeah.
low budget action film. Like the sequel left a little bit to be desired. But it's interesting to see that they're coming back.
Like I haven't watched that film in so long. I don't. I barely remember it.
I mean, you can't forget William Dafoe's performance as the cop trying to track him down. That's one of the most unhinged things. This is one of the most unhinged performances I've ever seen, and that's Willem Dafoe. He's done a lot of crazy shit. But yeah, that's going to be interesting seeing Boondock Saints. Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with a third one because I mean those niggas kill a lot of people, and they're still out here. Still out here.
He's still out here.
Speaking of other casting news, Kelvin Harrison Jr. is in talks to lead the Universal musical from Mikhail Gondry, who did Please Be Kind, Rewind, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And producer Pharrell Williams is it's a film that's based on Pharrell Williams' childhood, growing up in the city in Virginia Beach's Atlantis apartments. And it's written by Martin Hines, who did Toy Story 4, and Stephen Levinson, who wrote the script for Tick Tick Boom. Uh, yeah, and then also Divine Joy Randolph's also in talks to be in the film as well. So that could be interesting. A coming of age musical starring Kelvin Harrison Jr. and
Hey,
Divine Joy
listen, man.
Randolph. Why am I having trouble with that?
It's okay.
I don't know.
It, it's got our boy Kelvin in. You know what?
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
You know we're in. We in.
It's a lot of white creators, but I think it'll be good. Mikhail Gondry's done well. He's done well. Like his films are pretty dope, and he also started off as a music video director as well.
Oh,
so uh, so with Pharrell Williams, I mean, it's interesting to see that Pharrell is. I didn't know that Pharrell's. To be honest with you, Pharrell's life was that impact. Like I don't want to say impactful.
Oh,
interesting. I think interesting is the word to use. Yeah, that warrants coming of age musical. But given that's Pharrell, I just wonder if his music still works with the times now. You know, when I see artists like J Lo and Justin Timberlake and people like that coming out with new music, and it's not really resonating with people, I'm just curious if like that old Neptune sound still still appeals to the masses.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't
That
work.
did
Yeah,
not
it
sound
did
like
not.
grinding.
It did.
That sounded like you were doing some offensive African sounds. That was not great.
Who are African?
Speaking of music, uh, the Michael Jackson biopic is being called a complete whitewash by Leaving Neverland director.
Well, we literally talked about this. We said it. We called it.
Yeah, who claims to have read a draft of the script. Now, a draft could be completely different than the shooting script,
Yeah.
and also we don't know how often maybe they're writing on the fly. We do know the Jackson family is heavily involved in this film, though,
Yes.
and we've always talked about how this is always going to be a complicated movie.
Mm-hmm.
They can't not talk about it, but also this director, Dan Reed, said that it's an out and out attempt to completely rewrite the allegations, dismiss them out of hand, and contains complete lies. You never see him alone with any boys when, in fact, it's a known fact that he shared his bed with small children for many
Do we
years.
want to see him alone?
No, but I mean, I think they're just saying that they completely kind of negate
Yeah, they
his
kind of
actions,
yeah.
and probably the accusations come up, and it's just like a few scenes of like, I would never, like, how could they do this to me? And the Lord's like, it's gonna be fun, Michael, and then that's it.
Michael, these are all lies.
Who's that?
I don't
Who's that guy?
An agent or somebody.
Uh, that's wild. So yeah, I mean, we have to reserve judgment till at least we see the first trailer. We see the first trailer, then we'll be able to say, okay, this either going to be something, or man, I really hope it's good.
I mean, yeah.
It's going to be a hit no matter what because of Michael's catalog alone.
I don't know, man.
I think so, man. The Bob Marley movie was a hit. The Queen movie was a hit, and Michael Jackson's catalog like far surpasses either one of those.
Well, yeah, because they have this music.
And remember, Bohemian Rhapsody made, I think, I don't want to be, it made at least like almost $500 million.
Yeah, I mean, a Michael Jackson biopic, it should break every single record there ever was
For musical films, for sure.
Well,
yeah, dude, Bohemian Rhapsody made almost $1 billion worldwide.
Yeah, I mean,
and this is Michael
Jackson biopic could actually be the
biggest
film ever made.
Well, I wouldn't say biggest film ever.
No. The most gross. Michael Jackson has fans everywhere.
This is true. This is true.
He's literally the biggest star that ever lived.
Yeah.
There's nobody bigger than Michael Jackson. It's quite possibly could be the biggest film ever made.
Folks, call and let us know. Do you think that the Michael Jackson movie could be the biggest film ever made? Sight unseen, 347-508-0978.
So, I mean, like, how much did Elvis make?
Made a few $100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. But 347-508-0978. Call and let us know. Let us know. But speaking of Black creatives, hot off the heels of his first Oscar nomination, Jeffrey Wright has been set to join Denzel Washington in Spike Lee's High and Low, an English language reinterpretation of a 1963 crime thriller for Apple and A24. Details about his role are under wraps. But the film is going to be loosely based on the 1959 novel King's Ransom, which follows a shoe company executive who becomes a victim of extortion when his chauffeur's son is kidnapped by mistake and held for ransom. Interesting. But Jeffrey Wright and Denzel together, I mean, I'm in. Spike Lee too, I'm in. All you gotta do is add Sam Jackson, and that's gonna be fucking
right.
Huh?
I was like, yeah, right. This is Sam.
Just add Sam Jackson.
Give us Sam.
I'm like, I always forget how close Sam Jackson and Spike Lee are as friends. Like they do commercials and shit together. Like,
yeah.
And I just recently like came upon like we know when Spike Lee won the Oscar and Samuel Jackson's the one to present it to him, and then he just jumps into Sam Jackson's arms and shit. I was like, oh yeah, they've been riding for each other for like 40 plus years.
How many films with Sam Jackson Spikes?
They've done a lot together. I would say at least a dozen. At least, I think. I could be wrong on that, but they've done a lot together. Like they've done as much as like I would say like Leo and Martin Scorsese have.
Okay.
Yeah, they've done a lot. But one quick update piece of movie news that was intriguing to me is that Netflix is teaming up with Nordic crime author Joe Nesbo for a Harry Hole series, which is based off
Harry Hole.
I know. I think they pronounce Ole in Sweden. But this is my favorite crime series. I have every single book. Every time they come out, I buy them. I have a few signed by Joe Nesbo. Like I'm I don't know what it is about the series. I just love it. Like I think his writing is incredibly good, well done. They did try to adapt one of the stories, The Snowman, in 2017, but the movie was a disaster. We should probably add it to the list. It's called The Snowman. And
I
stars
saw that.
Michael. Huh?
I saw that film.
It stars Michael Fassbender. You know they ran out of money making it, right? That's why it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's the second and third act make no goddamn sense because they ran out of money and they couldn't film what they needed to film. They couldn't film 30% of the movie.
Hmm.
So Joe Nessel's actually getting full creative control. He's writing the scripts. So I'm actually incredibly excited about this. It's just all about who they cast as Harry, who's an incredibly complicated protagonist. He's not really even a protagonist too. He's a piece of shit. But yeah, I'm really excited personally about that.
Okay.
One thing that I'm a little uneasy about before we get to our trailer reactions is Alamo Drafthouse is apparently up for sale. Yeah, that's the word on the street is that they're the circuit is quietly you know picking the brains of the industry to see who might be willing to acquire them,
Hmm.
which is interesting. They're up, like they're profitable, so it's not like
Yeah.
they're struggling to. So I think hopefully they get acquired by someone that still believes in the vision and still follows those same protocols.
Nope. This is gonna turn into AMC's.
Damn. If that's the case, man, the movie going is over.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing horror stories about people in movie theaters lately, with people with their phones and like just getting in and out, like teenagers being disruptive. Like I'm
Teenagers.
here, I'm hearing
That's
bad things.
You know what's crazy is like the summer blockbusters. It's almost anxiety ridden because all the teenagers are off during the summer.
Yep.
So now you're gonna have to deal with them in the movie theater.
Yeah, and they don't know how to behave. They're fucking
And
crazy.
then the fact is like they're wildly disrespectful.
Yep.
You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which is it's which listen, that statement is not necessarily unfair. It's not necessarily fair because teenagers in all generations weren't necessarily the greatest because the older generation looking like, what are these guys doing? You know what I'm saying? Because when you're not a teenager, you view them differently. But I think also with the whole clout chasing on social media and doing wild things just for the gram and stuff like that, they're a little extra.
Okay.
So like that, like I could see some.
It's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
It's not good.
It's ripe for bad days.
Yeah, I really hate yeah, I really hate going to the regular movie theaters.
Yeah.
The audiences just don't know how to act.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just teenagers too. It's everybody.
Yeah, people just like they're just like, well, I paid my ticket. I do what I own this
I do.
place now.
Yeah, I do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Even at Alamo, it's gotten kind of rough sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like a heavy black audience, like Bob Marley. Yo, they weren't telling nobody shut the fuck up or put their phones away. They were scared. But at the same time, it's like, well, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
Everybody gotta have the same standards.
You're right.
But it is what it is. This isn't movie news, but I just added for us to discuss real quick. Michael Keaton recently did an interview where they asked him about his quick voice cameo in the Morbius, and he said no one could explain to me what it was about, why it was there. I just showed up, I did the line, and that was it.
Yep.
He in that when he got asked that question, he seemed genuinely like befuddled.
He's like,
like I don't know what happened, guys. I don't know what that was.
Why y'all asking me these questions? I just want to act.
I'm just trying to be an actor, man. Uh, so we did watch a few trailers, folks. Starting with the Acolyte, which is an upcoming Star Wars series that takes place, I believe, 100+ years before like we get to the Skywalker saga and stuff like that. It seems to hint at the first, I won't say first Sith, but maybe. Um, that's a great cast.
Yep.
From what I saw, I got Homie from Squid Games, Amanda Sternberg from The Hate You Give. Such a cutie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the poster is actually more enticing than the trailer, to be honest with you. The trailer is like, intriguing with like, a lot of flashes of lightsabers and good, the dark versus the light. But the trailer shows a lightsaber like being like trailed with by blood and stuff like that. It's pretty badass. What'd you think? Because you're not really that big of a Star Wars guy.
I'm not gonna say I'm not that big of a Star Wars. I enjoyed Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, you're not.
I haven't been watching the newer series and things like that. I think the thing that sucks about this, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks about this. It's all going to be like, it's the woke. Da, 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 da. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's all because the main antagonist is a woman and yada yada yada. So like it's
Mm.
and then you have people of color, you know. So yeah, it's never going to get the burn that it deserves. And
Yeah.
like so like with all of that, is this actually going to get a fair shake?
Mm.
Which is it sucks because it's not.
No.
Especially you add people of color and Star Wars together, and it's a fucking powder keg for race.
Yeah, that is true because they haven't quite curbed the racism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I just hope the show's good because I don't know. I've been very meh on Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
lately, and so I'm hoping that this turns things around. We did watch the newest trailer to The Fall Guy, which our producer Lluvia got to see at South by Southwest.
Mm-hmm.
She quite enjoyed it, and I quite enjoyed this trailer.
Yeah, so
It
did I.
shows Ryan Gosling's charm. Seems like a fun action movie. Emily Blunt, sexy as hell.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
She's really fucking Jesus Christ. Um, and she's gotten better with age too.
Yeah.
Because when you see think about Devil Wears Prada, she's very pale. She was still cute, but like she's gotten like she's grown into like kind of this action.
Mm-hmm.
I can do action and drama, and she's had some kids, and I think it's just she looks better.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Our UV in the chat said the trailer did not do the movie justice.
Oh wow. Well, that's a good thing then.
There
That's
you
a
go.
trailer that got us excited. So if the movie's even better than that, good on them. That means the marketing is on point.
Let's go.
Yeah, that means the marketing is getting people excited as opposed to how I felt about The Crow. I already didn't care about this movie, the Bill Skarsgård remake of the
Lee.
Brandon Lee 90s film. I don't get this character. I don't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck after I watched this trailer.
Mm.
I was like, what is this?
Did you ever watch the first Crow?
Nah.
UV put it on the list. You should watch the first Crow.
Okay. You think it will make me more like into the
No, well,
the reboot trailer?
it's also because the Crow has such a strong cult following.
Okay.
So like,
But is it all centered around his death? Or is it actually because of the character?
No, because of the character.
Oh,
People
okay.
fuck with it. No, not yes. You could add the 2024 one, but also the original Crow. Like, where does the original Crow? Like what is this playing off?
Mm,
Thanks, UV.
okay. Uh, we also watched the Furiosa trailer, the newest one, where Chris Hemsworth seems to be having a fucking ball as the fucking villain in this. I'm assuming he's the villain in this, from what I saw. Um, Anya Taylor-Joy plays a young Furiosa who was originally played by
Oh shit! Sorry,
Cameron Charlize Theron. So you got me saying Cameron Diaz. You fucking me up. Um, I think it's interesting. The only thing I said to Tati after we watched this trailer was that it's not giving me anything new. And I think the thing that surprised me the most about Fury Road
Mm,
was I was not expecting to see something like that.
yes.
And this seems to be more or less the same.
So when I watched the trailer, the first thing I said was, "Why?
Mm. Like, why do we need her origin story?
Yeah, why do we need this film?
Mm.
What? Why is this compelling?"
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully they justify it with the actual final product. I will say, like, the trailer was interesting, and Chris Hemsworth seems to be doing something really unique with that fucking voice and that
Yeah.
prosthetic nose he has on and shit like that. But yeah, I mean, a few of these movies, you're like kind of like, why? Like,
Yeah.
why now? Why this story? And that's how I kind of feel about Beetlejuice, which is a great title for the sequel, by the way.
Yeah.
Because then it just sets up for you to do another one too,
Yep.
and then you did the trilogy. But I'm very much like, why now?
Yep.
What story are they going to tell that makes this worth revisiting this classic movie, this classic character to come back now? I'm hoping the story is worth it.
Mm.
And I hope it's not just like, hey, we're going to capitalize on Jenna Ortega being like the hottest thing right now. Because for Winona to come back, for obviously Michael Keaton to come back, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin come back in some capacity.
Yeah.
Like, the story has to be worth it, right? It can't just be a money grab these days. Like, I thought they're doing decent, right? Money wise, Tim Burton's definitely fine.
Well, Tim Burton's definitely fine, but I mean,
Michael should be fine, right?
Michael Keaton's doing great. I mean,
I would imagine they wouldn't come back if it wasn't like,
what
hey,
about the writers? What about no? Actually, no. It's not about the actors whether they're doing fine. It's the studios.
yeah,
It's the studios. The studios have dealt with. We're going through a lot of bullshit, with the pandemic and all of the fucking turmoil and whatnot. It's for them. It's not for anybody else but the studios.
yeah. And I'm looking at the writers' filmographies right now. Fuck. Okay, it's tough, man, because they both have written the writers have both written on Smallville, Wednesday. They both also wrote Spider-Man 2. They contribute towards Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire
Okay.
one of the best Spider-Man movies. So it's like very mixed. Um, I don't know. The trailer looked good. Like, it does like a tribute to the Harry Belafonte song. It feels very Tim Burton-y,
Yeah.
which is great. Um, I just wonder what the story is, what the point is.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, why?
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see. But the trailer did get me intrigued, I will say.
Yeah.
I will say. Speaking of actors that are returning and doing a lot of work um, on screen, especially when it comes to makeup. Colin Farrell is back as the Penguin for the miniseries that's going to be coming, I believe, in the fall on Max. We got a little taste of the series where he gives this monologue about a gangster that was feared, um, notoriously feared, and that's something that he looks up to, while also showing scenes of clearly it's going to be a fight for the underground, the
Yeah.
underworld,
Yeah.
the crime
It's
underworld,
it's the
right?
powder keg.
Yeah, because ever since what's his name got killed in the
Falcone.
Batman, yeah, now it's like a power vacuum, like
Yeah.
who's going to take over. And so I'm interested. I know some people are a bit mixed on it, like who are like, "Oh, it doesn't feel Batman-y enough," and stuff. I'm like, but that's not what Matt Reeves is clearly going for.
Yeah.
He's going for something different. I'm all for it. We can't keep
Listen,
seeing the same shit.
listen, anything to take away from the stupid fucking well, this is a villain verse type of deal. But just the mess that is DC right now.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And just giving us something a little bit fresher and it's
yeah.
actually attached to something positive.
Yep, yep, yeah. Because I love this Oswald Cobblepot. I think it's a very interesting take on the character.
It's not as cartoony.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what they do with it because if they use this series to set him up as the big bad in the sequel, then okay, then we have like a real villain that we know like exactly where
True.
their POV is, exactly what they want. You don't have to spend a lot of time catching the audience up to make sure that you have an equal villain. Like I'm all for that. And then we spend maybe the third one. That's when the Joker comes in. I still think they're maybe going towards Hush
Mm.
and League of Shadows. Not League of Shadows.
Quarter ounce.
The quarter vials and stuff. I personally I'm thinking that they're leaning towards that, but we'll have to wait and see the Penguin. I think there's gonna be
Yeah.
some Easter eggs probably in what they're heading towards. But yeah, it looked good to me.
Yeah, no, I mean it looked dope, and obviously based off of the Batman,
Mm, yeah,
the character was like, okay,
yeah.
I'm down to watch more of
Do
this.
you think Robert Patterson pops up either as Bruce Wayne or as Batman? Do you think he
I
pops up at all?
I have a feeling yes.
Me too. I think like maybe the last episode
Yeah.
he'll appear or something like that.
Mhm.
But
How do you know? Do we know how many episodes this is?
I imagine it's gonna be small. Probably I'm
Like a
thinking
six or eight?
probably six. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be tight.
yeah. I think I'm thinking 6 to 8, but I
Yeah,
think Robert Pattinson will probably pop up at some point.
I can see that.
I think it's smart,
Yeah.
but and keep it brief.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yep.
give it enough.
Yeah.
Give it
Give us a
enough.
little. Give us a little tickle.
And you know what? I would even not even have him pop up at the end, pop up somewhere like maybe 4 or 5. But when it's closer to coming out, it's like, oh, just let you know, Batman's somewhere in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I do think they will pop up in some capacity for
Yeah.
sure, though. We also did see the newest trailer. Well, the only trailer released thus far for Bad Boys Ride or Die,
Mm-hmm.
the fourth entry in the series. And listen, I love these two together. I think the movie could be entertaining. But it seems like Bad Boys is doing this weird thing where the first one is comical and somewhat grounded. Then the sequel to that is fucking batshit crazy. Like, so Bad Boys 3 was somewhat surprisingly grounded.
Yeah.
And now this one seems like, hey, we're gonna ramp this shit up like Michael Bay did with Bad Boys 2.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like that kind of crazy. And it seems like they're kind of following some familiar beats, like with the racist
Yeah, yeah,
outfits and
yeah.
stuff like they already dealt with something like that in the second one.
Yes.
And so you sent it to me. You were the first person to send it
Yep.
to me. And I was like, well, that was a trailer.
And then I said that, Martin Lawrence giving me kind of Medea, not Medea, Big Mama's House vibes.
Mm.
Like I was like, ooh, Martin. But I gotta say, like, I'm here for it.
I'm always
I'm
gonna
here
be here
for
for
it.
it this
I'm
series.
here
Like
for
for
it.
sure.
For it.
I'm always gonna watch Bad Boys. Like I cannot not support these two like together. It's just fucking crazy. Like they're
Yeah.
and it's wild because I don't even think they really hang out outside when they make these movies. Like you never see them just hanging out the way that you
Yeah.
would see like a Martin and like Eddie Murphy hanging out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's how good their chemistry is that they just get together on set and it's fucking
Yeah. They just boom, it's
amazing,
there.
you know? And so I'm always going to go for that. I just am like a little weary of like the whole plot is like to clear the old captain's name and
Yeah.
shit like that. And he's recorded videos for them and shit like
Mm-hmm.
that. He doesn't seem like the kind of dude who would know how to do that. But whatever. Like
Burnett.
as long as he's not secretly alive, like
I'm pretty sure that's not gonna be the
I hope
case.
not. He got shot in the fucking neck. But
Yeah.
you never know. You never that's a way to redeem Will's son.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Remember, because he's the one that killed him.
Yeah,
So
true.
they get fast nine this shit real quick.
Please don't do
I
that.
know,
Please
please
don't.
don't. And the last thing we're talking about, last trailer, is actually not film related. It's video game related. Marvel 1943, which I just found out one of the writers is Mark Bernardin from the Fat Man Beyond podcast, which shows T'Challa and Captain America taking down Hydra.
Yeah, fighting Nazis during World War II.
Yeah, it seems. Well, here's the thing: it's just a character trailer, though, so we don't know what the gameplay looks like,
Well, yes, yes,
and that's what big. I'm like excited for the story,
but
but we
it's
both know these games have been rough lately.
so what from what I'm hearing is it's going to be one player game. You're playing
Okay,
as
do you pick one of them?
no, it probably different.
Switches off like a
You
GTA
switch,
5 or
yeah,
something like that. Okay,
you switch off
interesting.
as the things going on. So like I don't think there's really any uh there's any plans to make it like an online thing or a co-op, even though that would be fucking dope.
Yeah.
Because there's this game called fucking I think Rise of Ronin,
Okay.
and you can do co-op with that, and, like with three people, and like play fucking as ninjas, like going throughout a town, fucking you know, fucking slicing people up and shit like that, which sounds amazing. It's on PlayStation.
Okay.
And like I think that would be amazing to be to play as Captain America
Mm.
and Black Panther, but it just doesn't seem like they're gonna go that route.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about it. It's
Yeah,
just that I've been
Burn.
very concerned, not burned because I didn't buy the games, but I've just been very concerned with like the reception of the Suicide Squad game.
Yeah.
The last Marvel game I tried to play that outside of Spider-Man, of course, was the Avengers, and that was god awful.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I tapped out after like 3 hours of playing. I was like, this is shit.
Yeah.
Um, and then you also said like it's not Marvel, but you said
Gotham.
the Gotham Knights
Yeah.
game was garbage.
Horrible.
And I've just been hearing like mixed things about new games lately. Like the South Park game that just came out or it's about to come out is getting like scathing reviews. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why are games like starting to like revert back to being dog shit? But I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
hoping that this will be good. But
I
again,
mean,
it's just a story trailer. You
yeah.
don't until I can see the gameplay and how that's gonna look. Like, I'm gonna I'll still be optimistic, but I'm also gonna be very cautious in my
Yeah.
excitement and everything.
It
Same
sucks.
thing with the Wolverine game.
What do you mean?
Remember we saw that teaser
Oh
a
yeah,
while ago
yeah.
for a Wolverine game? I'm
Why?
like,
Why I bought a PS5?
that's insane. It should
No,
be
no,
for
no.
Spider Man.
That's no. Well, no. Listen, I bought the PS5 and I knew I was going to get
I mean,
Spider Man, but
Spider
it's just like I also like I've
Man.
always loved Wolverine.
Yeah, I get
So
that.
it's like like those ones like oh yeah, I definitely want to play that game. If I get it, like I know it's only going to be on PlayStation. I'm going to get a PlayStation. I want to make sure I have one for
Mm,
this game.
yep. UV in our chat wrote, there's a lot of layoffs in the gaming industry. Yeah, I've read that too.
Yeah,
That, I mean, a lot of the industries are just hemorrhaging. And then also, like, I think they're trying to unionize. the
Mm-hmm.
developers and stuff. It's just everything is getting crazy. But especially with Rockstar and a few other companies like having some controversy about how hard they're working their developers and stuff like
Well,
that.
and it's also part of it, and like you said in the chat, Microsoft already laid off 1,800 people in their gaming
Jesus.
division this year. Part of that is that like you have these titans, Microsoft,
Yep.
they're buying up all of these smaller studios, and then they're condensing,
Yep.
and so
For sure.
there's a lot of volatility happening right
Mm,
now, and
yeah.
it's the games are going to suffer. The games are going to
Yeah.
suffer. It comes
Yeah.
down to it.
Yeah. It's tough, man. But I'm like I said, I'm optimistic. Spider-Man 2 is still fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
Ghost of Tsushima is amazing. And I'm
So, the Rise of Roman is actually supposed to be kind of an indirect sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
that just came out, right?
Yeah,
Okay. I saw a commercial for that. I'm like,
I think yeah,
I saw a
it
commercial
literally
for
came.
something that's Ronin something.
I think it literally just came out like today or yesterday.
Okay. Okay. I might get that. I have Hogwarts Legacy on my docket
Okay.
next. And then I still gotta play the new Star Wars game. Star
Mm,
Wars Survivor or something like that.
no.
Very good things about that. But so there are some good games from last year that I can catch up on, but it just sounds like this year's been a bit rough
Yeah.
for new releases and everything. But folks, that's our episode on movie news and movie trailer reactions. Hope you all enjoyed our take. Let us know. Let us know if y'all like these episodes, because otherwise we can just go back to our regular reviews. You can tweet at us at Medium P Podcast, or hit us up on Instagram, Medium P Podcast, or you can leave us a voicemail, 347-508-0978. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and Threads at Brodo_Blackens. And Justin, how can people follow you as well? Support the show financially if they choose to do so.
Guys, you can follow me at J Brown Did It on all the socials. But you
Yeah.
guys know, if you want to support this show, you want to bring it to prominence, take yourself over to patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. There's so much on Patreon that you could be a part of, and that's where it's going to go down. Again,
It's
that's
going down.
patreon.com
It's
slash
going
medium
down.
popcorn.
That's right. Clap your hands, stomp your feet. It's a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to y'all next week.
Skip it a do bop, Christopher Reeves.
Peace.